What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hangout, where we help others move in excellence. And we're going to explore the criminal history of Franklin Holladay, better known around the world, around California at least, as Lefty Gunplay. And so, before I get into this, I want to just kind of clarify a couple things, right? First off, if you notice up at the top of the screen, under where it says his name, it says search performed on November 19th, 2024, 10:37 p.m. So, I've been sitting on this information for a while. LA County actually has a very user friendly uh, online system, right? To look up people's criminal histories, to look up cases. Every county is like that, and so a few months back, before even Thanksgiving, I was doing some legal work for somebody else, helping them with things, and I had to move around on the LA County website, and then I noticed that this stuff is accessible, and so cost me a couple bucks, nothing major. It took me like 20 minutes, and I got all the stuff that I'm gonna show you here. I just sat on it for a while because I had other videos. It was the holidays, that sort of thing. So for those that are gonna jump in and be like, "Oh, this is just hating because Lefty was on the Kendrick album." Look, I don't care that he was on the Kendrick album. Uh, I don't think there is any rapper in their right mind, and plenty who are not in their right mind, who would turn down the opportunity to say a word on a Kendrick Lamar album, right? So shout out to Kendrick Lamar for the opportunity. The song is a dope song. It's actually paying homage to a E40 song. Turn my music up, and so the cadence at the end, the four words, all of that fits in the style of the song. Kendrick actually shouts out, the Bay Area and E40 and kind of the Northern California rap scene a lot in his music if you know what you're listening to. But this is not a video about music, it's a video about Lefty. But I'm not that's not what this is, right? And I'll share a little bit more of my thoughts afterwards, but I know some of you guys just want to see what's on the paper, and so we'll go from there. Uh there's nine cases if you look here, right? There's nine cases. These are the nine results that are found. And so let's look at those individually, because looking at case numbers and dates in and of itself doesn't really tell you much, right? So we're gonna take each one and we're gonna take them in. Move over here. My bad, that was kind of fast. We're gonna take each one in chronological order. All right. So first off, September 17th, 2013. Okay, there we go. Arrested on September 14th, West Covina County Courthouse, felony. And what is it for? It is for burglary, right? For burglary, count two was resisting obstruction, delay of a peace officer or an EMT. And then what ultimately happened was he pled no contest later on in September and was convicted, right? On September 30th. They dismissed the resisting arrest and convicted him on the burglary. What happened as a result of that? Oh, I want to note real quick here. You'll notice in every one of these cases, he has a deputy public defender, right? So I know on a few of his interviews, he had talked about how he caught this major shooting. Just spoiler alert: there's no shootings, there's no house party, there's all bullshit, right? But he talks about how his dad, who he was estranged from, but has all this money, got him this great lawyer. I mean, unless he got him such a good lawyer that the case completely disappeared, um, I don't know about that, because every time that he's gone to court, he's had a public defender, which is pretty normal, right? When I went to court, I had a public defender too. That's the case for most of us. It's just kind of like this urge to lie when there's no need to, and but I'll get to that at the end. So, anyways, what happens as a result of this burglary? There's all his court dates, and he is sentenced on September 30th, 2013 to state prison, low term in state prison, 2 years. Um, so there's that, right? And this is just the rest of the page. I'm not gonna go through all of that. It doesn't say anything else that's useful. So he catches 2 years in September 2013 for burglary, and off he goes, right? I think at that time he's like 17, 18, somewhere around there. So what's next? 2015. He's arrested on June 2nd. It's filed on August 25th. And what does this involve? Vandalism, right? Felony vandalism. And he pleads no contest. and he's convicted. The vandalism happened on June 2nd, 2015. Now it's interesting because in one of his videos, in one of his interviews, he talks about how he was at like this boys ranch type program and they gave him a day pass, and this is when he was hoping to go to the military. So that might have been what happened on that burglary beef, right? But they caught him on the freeway crossing out his ops by the trailer park, and he caught a vandalism, and then shortly thereafter also caught a gun case, and that actually kind of fits the dates here. So I wonder if this, if this was the case. But on this one he did, this one he for sure went to prison. And what did he ultimately get sentenced to? He got sentenced to 8 months, right? 8 months on the vandalism. But if you look at the dates, next he caught this gun case, right? So the gun case was arrested August 23rd, filed on the 25th. So he went to court for both of these at the same time. He caught the vandalism in June, then he caught the gun case, which, like I said, kind of matches the version of his story about when he got busted for tagging by the freeway. And this one, possession of a firearm by a narcotic or addict, carrying a loaded firearm in public under specific circumstances. They dismissed that second gun charge. They just got him on possession of a firearm by an addict. And he was convicted of that. Again, went to court same time. So this sentence was ran with his last one. What is this? It is 16 months, right? 16 months with the other 8 years. So that's another 2-year sentence, right? He got 2 years in prison. And 2015, 2016 is when he normally refers, like when he was on Vlad and he was trying to clarify, I was in Wasco and AdSeg and removed somebody, and went to the Corcoran Sioux and blasted somebody and went to the Bay and, all that other stuff, right? All of that's like 2015, 2016. So I'm guessing that this was this term. And this was the longest stretch he had in between cases. And so I am not speaking to where he did his time at, right? That's not what this video is. I know there's been a lot of conversation around it. This is what is he gone to prison for and how long did he do? Okay, so there's a 2-year sentence. What's next? His next case is in 2019. And November 2019, he picks up a case for carrying a gun in a concealed vehicle and possession of a firearm by an addict. They dismissed the carrying a gun in the vehicle. He pleads no contest to the possession of a gun by an addict right before Christmas in 2019. And he winds up getting sentenced, same thing, public defender. He gets sentenced to 16 months, right? 16 months in prison. That's in 2019. And then he also caught a violation, right? That's what this is. 11/19/19, 11/19/19. That's the violation that he caught. And so it doesn't give any sentence, right? It's just he was put back on parole after he did a stretch. So he goes back to prison for a gun. Fast forward, but it counts as a case number in that list of the 9. So that's why I included it. And so let's go to this next one. March of 2022, which is barely 2 years after, he picked up 2 years on that gun case. And I'm not saying that he went to prison on all those gun cases. Again, I think he did go in August 2015. The other ones, the virus was coming up. A lot of people weren't going to prison. They're just gun cases. You ain't going to do a lot of time on it anyways. Did he do that sitting in the county? Did he actually go to prison? I don't know, right? I'm not sure. So this, in March of 2022, he picks up a possession of a gun, possession of ammo. There's a theme here, right? Dismiss the ammo, please no contest to the gun. And he winds up getting sentenced to 2 years, right? So there's a theme. So that's 2 years. And then after this is just violation. So this is a violation on, the same time, March 1st, 2022. So the violation for him getting caught with the gun, he did his time and he stayed on parole afterwards. And then next is May of 2023, where he gets a violation, right? We'll come down here so you can see it. Just warrant request order. It was revoked and it was reinstated in July of 2023. And then the last of the 9 cases, so to speak, that he caught is August of 2023. And same thing, revoked and then reinstated in November. It was in, I want to say, November 2023, reinvoked in or reinstated in September. And then it was like 3 months later, November of 2023, that he shows up on Indicted TV, right? Um, and the legacy of Lefty Gunplay is born, right? And in that interview, he talks about how he was sentenced to 13 years in prison for shooting up a house party. And then he goes on Vlad like last month, and he says, "Oh, people are hating on me, and it's not true. And I got sentenced to 13, but I did 85%." And goes on to talk about how he's really about that life, and he's really the only one that keeps it real. Everybody else is lying in rap music, north and south. But you can count on it when he says it, and he's really a gang member. He prioritizes gang banging over music, and on and on and on and on. So look, um, when he went to prison, he went to a level 2 yard, right? He talks about going to a level 2 and getting all his tattoos in a gym, and then coming home and the females really being impressed with his ink, right? So why am I doing this video? Right? Is it just aha poke fun at Lefty Gunplay? No. Some people are gonna take it that way, and I know that there's a lot of critics of his and there's a lot of supporters. Look, going to prison is not cool. Going to prison doesn't make you cool, doesn't make you a tough guy, right? It means that you broke a law and the court decided that that was the appropriate punishment. That's all it means. I mean, you got wrongfully convicted. That's another story. Different story, different day. But that's all it means, right? And what you go to prison for or where you do your time can shed some light on the culture that you probably experienced in prison, at least in the California Department of Corrections. The culture on a level 4 yard is a little different than I'm sure the culture on a level 2 yard. Uh, but as somebody who has been on the level 4 yards and been in the SHU programs and validated and all that shit and all the prisons that people like to talk about, right? The Corcoran SHU and the Bay SHU and all that. I can assure you there are lames and weenies on those yards just like there are tough guys. And I'm sure that the same thing is true for level 1 and level 2 yards. And from a non-involved perspective, right? We just passed the holidays. This is the second day of January. And there were a lot of people who were missing around the dinner table, this holiday season, including some folks in my own family. And whether they're on a level 2 yard or a level 4 yard or a SNY yard or a GP yard or a county jail or a fucking fire camp or the feds, what matters to me and what matters to my family, and I'm sure the same is true for families across the country, is they're not sitting at the table. They're gone, right? Like, that's a loss. That's a failure. When going to prison is a sign of failure, it doesn't mean you're a failure, but A, you failed at getting away with whatever the fuck you were doing. And you were just failing to live life on life's terms, and had to go sit down for a minute. So it's not something to brag and boast about. With that in mind, lying and exaggerating about why you go to prison and how much time you've done or where you've done your time. Like you're exaggerating something that isn't something you should be proud of to begin with, right? Oh no, I don't want people to know I just went to prison for a gun and vandalism. Let me tell them I went to prison for shooting at a house. Okay, shooting at a house is fucked up. I've been in houses that have been shot at. I've been outside of houses when the house is getting shot at. Um, that's a rough experience, right? It's does this make sense, right? Hopefully, some of you guys are kind of tracking with where I'm going. It's a reflection though of the culture and the society. If you want to make it in music, make it on your talents. And I would argue that I don't think Lefty's particularly talented in rap music. I think he's charismatic. He knows how to go viral, right? I haven't really heard a lot of examples of him being a great rapper, but I'm also a 47-year-old dude who is probably not the target audience for up and coming rappers now. So uh, who knows what my opinion holds in that regard. but you're gonna make it on the rap, right? But people feel like that's not an option. That in order to be successful, you have to have this whole story. And is Lefty the first dude to exaggerate what he's done? No. Is he the first rapper to lie about shit like this? No. I think he's taken it to an extreme with his podcast appearances and this long detailed tweaker tale basically of his experiences. It's not just lying in the music, it's just the whole fucking thing as a facade, right? uh, which is probably a little bit more extreme than your average rapper that colors outside the lines a little bit when they tell their story. But what does that say about us, right? That an individual feels like that's the only way I can make it. It's it's promoting, it's encouraging, it's advancing a lifestyle that he hasn't lived, right? And that he hasn't paid the price for. Like it's just I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments what you think, man. I don't want to make this a long video, so I'll cut it short here. But yeah, what do you think? What's going on here? What is this phenomenon, and what can we as the public do to change that? You know, let me know. Help others move to excellence. That's what homies do. Help yourself at the same time because you're worth it. Help your community because they need you. And stay tuned, man. More content coming. Happy 2025.